This is an exterior tour of Mirounga Leonina, our 1997 Prout 45 catamaran, and right now I'm starting by standing on the port side just above our sugar scoops, which you can see we've got a swim ladder and a freshwater tap there, and you can get a good view across the decks. I'm currently standing on a hatch down into our portside engine bay. If I come across the other side, the hatch to our starboard side engine bay is open, and you can see there's a ladder down into it, loads of space. There are also hatches from underneath the bunks in the main and guest cabins, which mean that you've got good access to the engine from both sides. We've got a magma grill there, which uses we've got an external gas tank to use with it, which is great, and fishing mounts. Coming over here, we've got our safety equipment, our life buoys. We've got a dam buoy over there, we've got our lifeboat here. Our dinghy is mounted on davits, which are manual davits, really easy to use though, and not too much energy expended. We tend to pull the dinghy out of the water every night and when we're not using it. So it's a security thing, but it also stops it from being fouled up so badly. The Tohatsu 9.8 horsepower engine was new last year, so that would be summer of 2021. And then if I climb up here slightly, I can show you that we've got 3 Victron solar panels there. Colin will add some details of the actual spec to that so in text, so you'll be able to see that. And we've got 2 wind generators, but basically between the solar and the wind, that covers all of our power generation needs. We've got 2 inverters, and we use our 12-volt water maker using that. We run laptops, we do our lights, and we run an air fryer even, so that's really useful. I'll give you a bit of a look at our rigging and sails there. So we are cutter rigged, which means we've got 3 sails, and the mast is relatively far back compared to some newer catamaran. She's got quite a small mainsail and a much larger foresail, which is really great because you can get that mainsail up before you set off. It's not going to blast you around too much, and then you kind of really rely on that foresail for power when you come out. So look along the boom, decent height. If you're over 6 foot tall, you do have to do a wee bit of a duck and remember it's there. We're under that. We're relatively short, we don't even know it's there. So and here is the main sheet, so it means basically your traveller's right at the back of the cockpit, and you don't really need to worry about any of your running rigging being in the way when you're in the cockpit, and it doesn't get in the way of the deck very much at all. We've got a blue Sunbrella bimini here, which keeps us shaded comfortably, and we do have a couple of extra sunshades that can be put up to provide extra shade on deck as needed. Again, Sunbrella cushions, providing lots of comfort, and we've got a couple of these folding comfort seats which you can put basically anywhere and you're comfortable. There are cockpit speakers. We've never used them because we actually use external speakers, but there is a hi-fi inside, like a car stereo. Lots of storage as well. Lockers underneath each bench, which also gives you access to the fuel tanks. It gives you storage for spare fuel, gives you storage for your snorkeling gear, etc. A couple of large lockers just at the back here as well. One of those has got lots of spare lines, our spare anchor, that type of thing, and the other one's got all of our buckets and cleaning stuff and our kayak paddles and such. And we've got a hardwood table here that was made for us by Bert Ford in Beckway. A little bit of storage, which is great underway. You've got somewhere to put your water, your phone, your snacks, and the table goes perfectly flat. Really comfortable seating here for kind of 4 to 6 people just around the table, and then you've got extra space here on these 2 benches, which are also really nice to sit on underway and stretch out on, and it's quite often where we snooze when we're on long passages. We've got a locker here which contains our battery bank. Again, we'll add the specs to this video, so you've got the information on that. Another locker here which has got our engine bilge pump and type things, and we've got bilge pumps for either side, and just a lot of storage actually. So if you did want to add a generator or something like that, we haven't found it necessary, but you've got space to do so there. Our helm seat swivels, which is great. Nice and solid. We actually had that fabricated for us only a couple of months ago, and it's great because you can sit at it and see comfortably over the top without having to stand up. Wheel, again, I did the whipping last year, so I'm not going to shout too much about how great that is because it would be conceited. All of our instruments. And we've actually got two autopilots, the original one and one that was added at a later date. Relatively recent chart plotter, and our kind of depth and speed counters, as well as our compass and navigational tools there. Controls for our two engines. We've got Volvo Pentas in both sides, and with slightly different specs. They're different engines, but there's your controls. They run together really nicely. We actually use it, instead of using this chart plotter, works really well. It's because it's a touch screen and it's relatively modern. We actually use an iPad with the Navionics software, because we like that you can use it away from the helm. It clips on there, and we've got 12-volt power there, and we've got dodgers here that give us a nice breeze when we're on anchor, close up when it's raining. Really good. Plenty visibility as well. Obviously we've got our wind scoops up at the moment, which are blocking a little bit of that. They wouldn't be there when we're sailing. And here is a little bit of a look at our rigging. This is where you operate everything on the main from. So we've got a roller furling sail. So you've got your in haul and out haul here. We've also got our main halyards, spare halyards, topping lift, all from this same block here. Really nice and easy to control. You don't need to leave the cockpit to do anything. And again, with the foresail, which is our much bigger sail, lovely big winches, electric buttons, which makes everything very, very low effort. And very easy. We've got those on both sides. These smaller winches, we don't use the one on the port side. We have never needed to use the one on the port side because our furling line is over here on the starboard side. This is a manual winch, but actually most of the time we find that we can run this line over to this electric winch and winch in, unless the wind's crazy. Colin can hold this off on his own, so that works nicely. And then I'll just quickly show you the door. This is again hardwood door, made in Beckway. Latches inside so we can close it from the inside and be secure. The way that this is set up with these hinges means that there is absolutely no way that somebody could physically kick in this door. It just wouldn't happen. So it's very, very secure. And when we're not on board, we bar it with this stainless steel door bar and padlocks. Really quick to lock up, really easy, and incredibly secure. So coming up onto the deck proper, just going to walk forward. See, we've got some scoops here. We've got the breeze boosters on the top. They're all breeze boosters. They are fantastic for pulling air through. We don't have AC. We don't feel the need for AC. We've lived through a hurricane season here when it's the hottest, and it's just not necessary because Mirounga's relatively nicely laid out. It's not like a big glass box like a newer boat, and it works really nicely. Again, I'm on the port side. We've got a couple of lockers here. This one is used for fenders. One on starboard has got our gas tanks in it. Here's the electric windlass. We've got a button for the windlass at the helm, so you can go up and down from the helm, but we've also got additional ones here, which is really useful. And one of my favourite things here is the fact that the anchor comes out practically from the bow, so you've got a really good view of that coming out. We've got 180 feet of chain at the moment, and we use a snubber to that cleat there in the centre instead of a bridle, and friends that have got a bridle have actually said that they wish they had this because it's simpler, so really nice. And then obviously we're a catamaran, we've got trampolines or nets or whatever you call them. They're really comfortable. Relatively tall people can lie across these, so they're perfectly comfortable, perfectly spacious and lovely to sit in Star Watch. 2 stand-up paddle boards on a Magma mount. You can also use that mount for a kayak if you prefer to have a kayak instead of stand-up paddle boards. but we like the fact that paddleboards are easier to take in and out of the water. Our breeze boosters, you can stand on this coach roof. It's great. You can get a really great view if you sit just in front of the mast, and that's one of our favourite places to sit. You can see that we've got a little bit more standing rigging than some of the more modern cats. That's great. We know people that have had their cats of a similar age and size to us go through Hurricane Irma and BVI, and be the only boat in the boatyard still to have their mast at the end of it, so we're really happy with that. One thing I didn't show you was our staysail. That's the middle one. That just helps you to get a little bit more wind at certain points of sail, and that is operated manually by these here. That's the furling line, and that's the sheets basically, and that's really easy. I'm not very strong, I'm not very big, and I operate that one manually myself, so that's all fine. And I think that covers it, but obviously if you have any questions about her, inside or out, then please do get in touch with us, and I hope this has given you a better idea of what Mirounga is.